everybody who knows me knows that I love caramel. Salted caramel is like my favorite thing on earth. So I taught myself how to make it so I could keep it stored in a jar, and anytime I want it, I can have just a spoonful. So we're going to start with 2 cups of sugar and a medium, well, this is my large saucepan. We're going to turn the heat on it up to medium. And we're going to sit here and stir. Now, as sugar heats, it caramelizes on its own. It's going to become like an amber color. It's going to clump up. And this process could take anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes. But you have to stir the entire time. If a portion of your sugar gets cooked before the rest of it, it makes for an uneven caramel. Some parts will burn and other parts won't. So you have to diligently stir the entire time. And use a wooden spoon or a spatula, heat-resistant spatula, not a whisk. We'll use the whisk later when we stir in heavy cream, but not to start with. So we're just going to sit here and stir this sugar for the next 15-20 minutes. So it's only been about 5 minutes, and we're not at caramelized stage yet, but we are at the clumping stage. So if you'll see, the sugar is clumping together into big chunks, and we're going to keep stirring. It's liquefying at the bottom. We need it to liquefy throughout. So it's no longer at the hard stage. And if you look real close, you can see around the edges, it's turning to liquid. So what we want is a nice amber color and it fully liquefied. You have to be very careful with caramel. It is super hot. It's about 400 degrees to get it sugar to the caramel stage. So be super careful when you're doing it. One of the reasons I'm wearing gloves is to save my fingers should anything happen. So we're going to keep stirring. We want to get it to a nice amber color. You want to get it one step shy of burning, basically, to get a good caramel flavor. You see how we got it? We were all granulated, then we were clumps. Now it's mostly liquefied. We're going to keep stirring and breaking up those pieces that are the chunks that are too big, and waiting for it to turn a pretty amber color. Now I use salted caramel in a bunch of different things. You can use it in the middle of my salted caramel butter bars. I add it to a buttercream frosting as a filling. I put it over ice cream. We can add it into fudge, so you have a ribbon of salted caramel in it. All kinds of things that you can do. You can also, if you don't want the salted caramel, you just want caramel, use the same process. I'm going to use some salted butter, but you don't have to. You can use unsalted butter, and then you'll just have plain caramel instead of the salted caramel. This is my one indulgence. I know I say all the time that we do everything low sodium around here, and we do. This is where I go a little crazy because I love salted caramel. So I cut salt out of everything else so I can have it here. Is basically what I'm telling you. All right. So we see how we're getting almost all of those pieces, the big chunks of white in there. I don't know if you can see them. We're breaking them down. We're getting a nice amber color. There we go. Now, keeping the temperature at medium, I have 12 tablespoons of room temperature salted butter. Now, I didn't have salted butter, so I took a stick and a half of butter, which is what we would normally use, and I added a half of a tablespoon of salt. Now I'm going to slowly add this in, and you have to be careful because as you can see, it bubbles up, and you want to make sure that you don't get burnt as it does. So I add a little bit at a time, stir it, then I'll add a little more. I'll make sure that the butter melts. We'll stir, we'll add a little more. Now, your caramel at this point has the potential, because you're at two different temperatures, for it to split apart. It does happen. If it happens to you, remove it from the stove and just whisk it vigorously until it comes back together. The last of my salt. So 12 tablespoons of salt is a stick and a half. There we are. Once the butter is stirred in and melted completely, we're going to let it cook for a full minute without touching it. So on my timer on 1 minute, and I'm going to leave it alone. So it's been a minute. Now I'm going to stir in, I have a cup of room temperature heavy cream, and this is also going to bubble up. So be very careful and pour it very slowly. This is why the pot I used to start with was much bigger than the sugar, was because I know it's going to bubble up and I want to be safe. Added the full cup. And now we're going to sit this and let it cook without stirring for another minute. Then we're going to remove it from the heat, stir in the salt, and then let it cool. So it's been a full minute. We have let the caramel cook with the heavy cream. I'm going to turn the heat all the way off. I'm going to stir in a tablespoon of salt. And then we're just going to let it sit until it cools to room temperature. And then we can refrigerate it. Once you make it, salted caramel can be in your refrigerator in an airtight container for up to 6 months. So I put it in a jar, I put it in the refrigerator, and then I can come back and have it anytime I want. So our salted caramel has been chilling overnight, and it's now at room temperature. So now all I'm going to do is put it into a jar. And it's going to be super thick. You can thin it out if you want to, but if you just heat it up, it thins out on its own. And I like putting it in the jar, because then I can just take the lid off and put the jar in the microwave and warm it up, because it's glass. And there we have it, salted caramel.